Yeah, my name's Jim, and my sister and I we talk to ghosts. Uh, we've been doing it a long time. We started around 2004. Uh, didn't get really good at it until about 2011. Uh, it all came about by happenstance. We were being ghost hunters like TV guys, and weren't getting too far with it. But realized that if we were really, really quiet when the audio recorders were playing, when they were on, we could capture voices. So we practiced. We did a lot of practice at an old place called Forgeddale. It's in eastern Pennsylvania, not far from where we live. And fully furnished house, built in like 1720, super old. And eventually the caretaker was cool enough to flip us the key. The owner lived out on the West Coast, uh, so we had full run of this ancient house uh, to learn, what we're doing now, all these years later, 10 years later. Uh, we learned a lot of things at Forgeddale. We learned um, to use tripods to get our microphones up. We used to put recorders on the on buckets in the kitchen, tiny little kitchen, maybe 8 foot by 10 foot, uh, and we'd put 3 recorders across the kitchen. And sure, we would catch the odd voices here and there, but mostly what we caught was footsteps. You know, we'd lay out those recorders. We'd carry a fourth recorder and walk around the house, room to room, and just, saying hello and hoping to get a response. And one time I took the dog, Sita, and that dog never left my side. Loved me. And we we were walking around the house. The dog's right behind me, and all of a sudden, I lay down on one of the beds up on the second floor, and of course the dog jumps up on the bed with me. And out of nowhere, the dog jumps off the bed right then and there. And it's a wood floor. She jumps down to the wood floor, and a couple days later, when we were listening to that recording, a man had come up to her and said, "Not on the bed, Sita." And immediately you can hear her nails hit the wooden floor. After a while, that day, the dog went missing. The dog never goes missing. I freak out. I run up the one staircase. My sister goes up the other staircase. And eventually we find her in the room adjacent to where that bed was. She was sitting, staring at a spot on the wall about 5 foot up the wall, just enthralled with nothing. There was nothing there, nothing on the wall, no pictures, no nothing. So she's just sitting there, and I'm at the steps, and I softly call her, "Sita, Sita." Now she can hear me, but she won't take her eyes off that wall. So now she goes from a sitting position down into a prone position, the whole time not taking her eyes off of that spot. Finally, I get angry now, "Sita!" And the spell is broken. She stands up, tail goes right between her legs. She knows she did wrong. And I went and picked her up and just carried her back down these little steps into the kitchen. This is the original part of the house. And as I'm walking into the kitchen, there's a guy. We recorded a guy. There are nasty people in that house. F you, and F that dog, that guy says. Of course, I take the dog right out of the house. But we did learn. Get those recorders up higher, because whatever that dog was looking at on the wall, that's where she was hearing the voice come from, about 5 feet up the wall. So it taught us to use tripods as high as we can get them. And oh, it improved our work dramatically. Another thing, before we got the key to that house, we were waiting on the porch out back for the caretaker to pull in and let us in. And there was a bench sitting on the porch with an armrest on each side. And because we didn't know what we were doing, sure, we just put one recorder on one armrest and another recorder on the other. And recorded a guy on the one saying, "Go get them." Real nasty. And the guy on the other armrest, "Well, go get them then," he says. That taught us a whole lot. Number one, we couldn't hear one guy on the other recorder and vice versa. So a recorder's only going to pick up like maybe around 3 feet of space around a recorder, what we initially thought back then. They were communicating, and of course we don't hear any of this until we play it back when we get home. And we run it through amplifiers, and we have to really jack it up because these voices are so incredibly quiet. It's normal people that I would play for. I used to own a bar, and when I used to play for in the bar after work for people to listen to, it was difficult for them to hear it because they weren't used to it. But that's what we do. And I got more stories for you.